Okay, my name is Christine Holt. I work at the University of Cambridge in the UK, where I work on the problem of how the visual system gets wired up early in development. That is, how the eye connects to the brain. And I work with my long-term collaborator, Bill Harris, and we've been working on this problem for about 39 years now. I work on a particular set of specialized cells, and these are called the ganglion cells, and they're the only cells that send a long, thin process from the eye into the brain. The long, thin process is called an axon, and it forms, eventually, many of them together form the optic nerve. And this is the structure that carries all the visual information that you see in your eyes and carries it to the brain. So it's very important that the optic nerve forms properly. What our research has been tackling is the problem of how this gets set up. How is it that these long cables are able to navigate the journey from the eye to the brain, which is a long distance? And what we have focused on is the pathway itself, and we've found, if you imagine it's a journey from Lisbon to Madrid, there are signposts that you would have to read along the way to tell you to go right and left. You'd have to make a decision about which way to turn. What we've done in the visual system is to identify what signposts in terms of the molecules are there that direct the growth of the axons to the right place. This we hope will have implications in terms of regrowth. If you understand, for example, how an engine is built, if it goes wrong, then you have a good chance of being able to fix it. And so is the case with the visual system. The idea would be, if you understand how they grow, the nerves, and how they connect up in development, then the hope is that you can help with repairing the process when it goes wrong. A second aspect that our work has been looking at is inside the growing axons themselves. And we've found that the growing axons have the ability to make proteins locally in response to the signposts that they meet. And this interaction is very important for directing their growth. And it also turns out that this ability is very important for the survival and maintenance of the axon. So the implication here of our work, potentially, is on neurodegenerative diseases. A lot of diseases such as Alzheimer's, for example, are caused by neurons degenerating. If you understand how they're maintained and what makes them survive in the first place, then you can potentially interfere and cause neurons, or axons in this case, to survive rather than to degenerate. The award, the Sham Polymer Award, which I'm deeply honored to be a recipient of, will be incredibly important to our research, because it will allow us to continue looking at these problems, these two problems that impact on repair and the survival of axons into the future. And particularly, I'm interested in looking at very high resolution imaging to look inside these growing axons. And finally, I'm hoping to be able to use some of the award to help women in science, particularly those at the early stage of their careers, when often they will have a family that they're starting as well, and try to help those researchers come back into, very talented researchers come back into doing research into the area of our interest, and particularly in trying to understand visual system development and wiring. Thank you.
Perfect. Really, really great. Can I just ask you one final, really simple, kind of silly question? How did you feel when you found out that you won the award? What was your first thought?
Well, to begin with, I mean, I was extremely excited, but to begin with, I I received a phone call from the chairperson of the jury, and I was very confused. I didn't really understand what he was saying, and then he said the word Sham, and I thought, this is tremendous. I knew the meaning of it. I knew that the foundation is a fantastic foundation for what it does in terms of the basic sciences, in addition to the understanding and sort of helping further treatment for vision problems. So to me, it was just an immediate sort of honor, and I could barely believe it, that I was going to be a recipient. So it was fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you. That's really, really great. Thank you so much.